So I'm back with my UFC 145 video, and as usual I'm going to start with the main event and then work my way up from the bottom of the card. Two things to note. First, if there's any strange noises, it will probably be Jens the Budgie, who is unwell and in at the moment in a cage for observation. Secondly, to do with the card, this card, there seems to be an awful lot of Canadians from the TriStar gym, wherever that is, and people associated with Team Tompkins. So the main event is Jon Jones versus Rashad Evans. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that Jon Jones will probably win this one. And I hope he does. I've never really been a fan of Rashad Evans, whereas Jon Jones I know and have met, and I think that he is absolutely fantastic. I hate to use the cliche real deal, but I do believe that he is going to go a long way. He of course was my fighter of the year last year. I shall go for him. I shall go for a TKO in the second there. Marcus Brimage is fighting Maximo Blanco. Marcus, with a record of 4-1, is on a 2-fight win streak. He is a submission fighter. He wins, but also loses by submission. Maximo Blanco has a better record, 8-3. He generally wins by TKO, so this is striker versus groundsman. Now, Maximo Blanco lost in his debut last time. I have to say, for some reason, that I'm still favouring Marcus Brimage. I think I might go for a submission. I'll go for a bar submission in the second. Keith Wisniewski or something, is fighting Chris Clements. Now Keith has a record of 10-4. All his wins are by TKO. He has lost a few by submission. He has never seen a decision at all. He is now on a 4-fight win streak and generally only loses to calibers. Chris Clements has a much better record, 28-13. He wins by submission. So once again, it's striker versus groundsman here. He loses by the decision. He is also coming off a loss and tends to only lose to calibers, of which of course Keith is not one yet. I think Chris Clements will probably win this one. I might even go as far as saying decision. Mac Danzig is fighting Efrain Escudero, and I'm quite excited about this match actually. Now Efrain Escudero, you'll remember, is a tougher who generally tends to win by submission. He's coming off of a loss with a record of 18-4. Most of those 4 he's picked up recently, as in within the last sort of 2 or 3 years. Mac Danzig is also a tougher. Now he is also coming off a loss. He also generally tends to win by submission, so this will probably be a ground war. Despite having a record of 20-9, Mac Danzig actually has a pretty terrible record in the UFC. It goes something like this: loss, 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 win, loss, win, loss. He is one of the people who should have been cut a very long time ago. I think that Efrain Escudero is probably going to win this one. I also think that he can probably win by submission as well. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it could be dramatic. Let's go for a choke submission in the first there. that one I think is going to be quite entertaining. I am looking forward to that bout. John Makdessi is fighting Anthony Nojo Kwani. Anthony, had a good run of it in WEC, but hasn't managed to transition to the UFC quite as well. Win-loss, win-loss is his past record, 14-6, and he is generally a striker. John Makdessi is also a striker. His record is 9-1. Now that one is the loss that he's just coming off to Dennis Hallman. This one I think could be a closer call than one might think. I think John Makdessi might actually take this, but I might go for decision. Right, Matt Brown is fighting Stephen Thompson. Stephen Thompson has a perfect record of 6. This isn't his debut, but he has fought no calibers. Matt Brown 13-11. Not always done so well. I think that Matt Brown will probably win this one, but I might go for decision. Travis Brown is fighting Chad Griggs. Travis Brown always used on a numbered UFC event, but he's also always the person who ends up fighting the European fighter of the sort of ilk that's made up of, the lower sort of cards. He's fighting Chad Griggs. Chad Griggs, I remember, one time person in WEC, I do believe, a very long time ago. Both of these are TKO specialists, so this is going to be a match on their feet. 11-1 for Chad Griggs and perfect 12 for Travis. This is going to be a very, very exciting fight. Chad Griggs is on a 6-fight win streak. I think I'm going to give him the advantage, I might go for TKO in the 3rd there. Mark Bocek is fighting John Alessio. John Alessio should never have been dropped from Zuffa. And I don't know if he was dropped from Zuffa before Zuffa took over WEC or not, because he was a WEC fighter who had done very well, lost a couple previously in his career in WEC, but had gone on a bit of a win streak, lost one and then suddenly disappeared. His record is quite outstanding, 34-14. His victories include 15 submissions and 10 knockouts alone. However, he does also lose by submission. And that is Mark Bocek's speciality, with a record of 10-4. I do think that this could be a challenge for both of them, but I am going to go for John Alessio on that. Might go for decision. Mark Hominick is fighting Eddie Yargin. Mark Hominick with a record of 20-10. He has lost 2 in a row, but let's not forget that one of them was Josie Aldo. Eddie Yargin 15-5 is also coming off a loss. I'm going to give Mark Hominick the advantage here and probably go for a submission in the 2nd. Now this is another bout that I'm very excited about. This is Miguel Torres fighting Michael McDonald. Miguel has an outstanding record, 40-4. He's got 23 submission victories alone. Michael McDonald, he is on a 7-fight win streak, generally a striker, with a record of 14-1. Goodness only knows who's going to win this one, because they are both pretty exciting and pretty dependable as well. I just don't know who is going to win this one. I suspect possibly Miguel Torres by split decision, just because he's got a much better record, and he's got more experience and possibly faced more calibers. But I don't know. I don't know if he's a tall like Rusty. It could go to Michael McDonald. Either of them, I think, could probably win that one. Brendan Schaub is facing Ben Rothwell. Brendan only has a record of 8-2, and he is in fact coming off a loss. Ben Rothwell has a record of 31-8, but his record recently, loss, win, loss, win, loss, isn't brilliant. Both of them are strikers. Ben Rothwell with 17 TKO victories alone, but do you know, I think I might go out on a limb and go for Brendan Schaub on that one. And Rory McDonald is fighting Shay Mills. Now, Shay Mills is a British fighter who, in fact, I've seen, I don't know, I can't remember if I saw him actually fight, but I certainly did see him at a cage rage event a very long time ago now. He's on a 5-fight win streak with a record of 14-4. Rory McDonald, another extremely impressive fighter, with a record of 12-1 on a 2-fight win streak. This is striker versus groundsman, with Shay Mills being the striker. I favour Rory McDonald on this, but I might go for decision. And those are my predictions for UFC 145.